Hi, Ramya. So I know your exam is coming up in a couple of days, so let's see how quickly we can work to get these essays back back to you. Sorry, I'm still coughing, still sick, but let me see what I can do to get this to you. This is about fast food replacing traditional food. Let's see what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether the current modern cultural value represents fast foods rather than home cooked foods. I don't understand this. Even though we fixed it and we said whether, I didn't understand the rest of this. Current modern cultural value represents fast foods. Did not understand that. I suspect you're trying to say something else here. Maybe you're trying to say this. Let's try it again. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether modern culture favors fast food rather than home cooked foods. I think this is what you mean to say, but your syntax here is off and it creates some inaccuracy, and in fact, it even leads to some incoherence. Some believe this would have an adverse effect on the health of our community. I would have made this one sentence. While others consider that it is necessary due to the rise of our living standards. You see, this part with the while, it cannot stand on its own. So you have to connect it with the previous sentence. This says it will argue both sides using examples from the South African government and WHO organization demonstrate points to prove arguments. All right. I feel like we talked about this the other day. Again, look at the question topic. It says, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So you really have to express an opinion. Okay. I want you to look at the band descriptors for task 7. What did I just say? I want you to look at the band descriptors for task 2. Look at band 7 under task achievement. You'll see it says presents a clear position throughout the response. The position is your answer to whatever this is. Okay? And throughout means from the beginning to your end, to the end. So just saying that you're going to argue both sides is not what you've been asked to do. You haven't been asked to discuss advantages and disadvantages or discuss both sides of the argument. You've been asked something very different. So you have to answer it differently. Um, so first of all, this sentence has to come out, okay? And you have to tell us instead to what extent you believe that fast food replacing traditional food has a negative effect on families, individuals, and society. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what the answer is, what that sentence should be, because I don't know what your position is. Once I know what your position is, which I will probably find out at the end, then I can tell you. But you can now see how ineffective that is, because that's not knowing your position throughout, that's knowing your position just at the end. All right, let's see. There is ample evidence that the traditional food values are decreasing in our society. The central reason behind this is no comma, due to the increase in the working population and our hectic lifestyle. Okay. People are unable to spend time to cook at home. Instead, they prefer to get processed foods, which take less time to cook and are, because you said foods, are also readily available for takeaways. For example, recent empirical research by the South African government demonstrated that 70% of families are eating processed food at least 4 days a week. You can see I took away some words that were grammatically wrong. Therefore, comma, it is conclusively clear that most of the people in our community prefer fast food. All right, so we've already established a problem in your introduction. This has another problem. It's off topic. Okay, this is not what you have been asked to talk about. Again, I'm going to point your attention to the topic. And you could see how I rephrased the question to make it easy or easier. To what extent do you believe, or to what extent do you agree that the replacement of traditional foods by fast food has a negative impact on families, individuals, and society? That's not what you talked about at all. You were just telling us here instead that more and more families are doing it. More and more families are eating fast food. Not not the point at all. They've already told us that this is happening. They've already assumed that this is a given. And so what you have to do is you have to state some sort of an opinion on this trend, on this change. Let's keep going. Although there's a case for drive-throughs, okay, eat-ins and even franchises favoring the modern society, the impact that these foods can have on our physical health cannot be overstated. Hold on, I have to cough. This is largely because, no comma, they are energy dense, high in fat, and low in micronutrition. This is the major cause for obesity. Overweight is an adjective. You need a noun. This is the major cause for obesity, diabetes is what you want here, chronic disorders, and even child obesity in our society. Okay, well, you just said obesity here, so you don't need to say it again here. For instance, an extensive study by the WHO organization has shown that 90% of people who regularly eat pre-cooked food are prone to become obese within the next 4 years. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that if a person wants to lead a healthy life, they need to minimize or stop eating fast foods, get rid of the from. Again, not what you're asked to talk about, not really at least. We'll talk about it in a minute. From the argument as examples given, I firmly believe that consuming junk food, okay, not junk food, fast food. Junk food is different. Junk food can be chips and sweets and ready made from the supermarket, like croissants and biscuits and all that stuff. We're talking about fast food, which can be easily purchased from, like a burger place or a hot dog place or, street food. I don't know what country you're from or what street food you have there, but it could be anything like hot dogs or gyro or, I don't know, maybe like kebabs or something like that, okay? That you get on the street or you get like in quick restaurants and then you leave. Okay. So not junk food, but fast food here. So I firmly believe that consuming fast food has a negative impact on a person, family, and the whole society. It's predicted that in future the importance of physical fitness will increase. All right. So again, uh, okay, yeah, you said that you think it does have a negative impact. You didn't really cover it the way you were supposed to. Here, you did talk about the rise in obesity. You said 90%, blah, blah, blah. That was good. I liked that. But again, you made this like a totally different essay. You made it, here, let me show you what you did. You acted as if this essay was, why are people eating more fast food? And is this positive or negative? That's what you answered, but that's not at all what the question asked. So here, yet again, you should have said that I believe that um, fast food has a negative impact um, on families, on individuals, and in turn on all of society. Okay, so what you should have said here. And then what you can do is you can divide your paragraphs. There are a couple of ways to do it. I'll tell you one way I like it is if you talk about, say, for example, the individual and how this shift towards, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a shift away from traditional food towards fast food. Why is this shift bad for the individual? Okay, so if you were to talk about that, you could say, the health issues that come into play, obesity, like you mentioned, diabetes, like you mentioned, excuse me. And then you can talk about what this means for society. So it means you have a society of sick people. It means you have a society of people who are taking sick leave, and this is costing companies and the country in terms of income and in terms of paying for sick benefits and so forth and so forth. So it affects the individual, but then it affects society. Now, in the next paragraph, what you could do is you could talk about the effect on the family. If families are no longer eating traditional food or they're eating less and less of it, well, then look what you're losing. You're losing food culture. You're losing time for the family to sit together and prepare a meal together and sit around the family table and discuss the day's events. So partially you're losing food and traditions, but then you're also losing family contact. So this affects society because the culture then slowly dies out. When you start losing food from a culture, you're taking away a very important part of it. And so that affects society. So this is one way you could have done this. Is it the easiest way? No, there are other easy ways to do it, but it's a good way to do it, I think. And it covers individuals, families, and society. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at your task one. Okay, you didn't see your friend whose town you were in. Okay, dear Nicole, how are you? How is life post-pandemic treating you? I hope everything is going well with your family and friends. As mentioned in my last letter, I had planned, excuse me, a trip to the WITS University in Durban to complete my final year thesis from Professor Mark. Okay, I'm writing this letter to you to apologize for not making our appointment last Saturday evening. As you are aware, there were heavy rains and landslides recorded around the outskirts of Durban, where the university is. Hence, I was stuck inside the campus with no power. It was such a nightmare experience for me to sit and wait around alone in a hostel room. I tried to reach you via phone as well, but there was no signal range in that area. However, since my semester will be over next month, get rid of the bye, I am planning to travel around the West Coast and have booked a cruise from Durban Harbor for my vacation. I will make plans for us to meet before I board the ship. Let's get together soon over coffee. Okay. So, um, you misunderstood the topic. I don't know. You started talking about going to university and you were at university and you couldn't visit your friend. I didn't understand that. It's supposed to be that you took a trip to your friend's city, presumably for work, but something came up with your work and you couldn't see your friend. Okay? That's what this is supposed to be. So I felt like you didn't really understand the topic and you were sort of off topic. Okay? Um, so that's one thing. Then the other thing is, excuse me, I thought you started really nicely. It was nice and informal, and that was fine. But then this felt super formal. So you changed tone, and I didn't want that. I am writing this letter to you to apologize is really very formal. This is the kind of language we use in formal letters, but not to our friends. So instead, what you could have said is, I really want to tell you how sorry I am for not being able to meet up with you last Saturday. All right, that's how we talk to our friends. And so that's how you need to write this. When you're writing a letter to your friend, it should be similar to how we talk to our friends. And then this too, hence, also very formal. And then again, I didn't really understand this either. The idea is, that you're going to visit your friend's city again. And so, hey, maybe this time I can meet up with you. Okay. So, for example, let's say your friend lives in Athens. Okay. It's as if you're saying, hey, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to visit you on my business trip to Athens last week. Several things happened during my business trip that prevented me from seeing you. And then you could spend a paragraph talking about what those things were. And then you can tell your friend the good news is that my company has agreed to send me back to Athens for a follow up meeting next month. This time I will have more free time, plus, I will tack on some vacation days. This time, I am certain I will be able to see you. Okay, maybe we can do this. Now, remember, it says suggest, so you'll have to have some language of suggestion. So you could say, maybe we can go catch a play together or, see a concert if someone good is playing. Okay, so that's what you need to do here. You said, let's get together for coffee. That was good. That was a suggestion. So you could do something like that as well. Okay. All right, so let's see if you can get us another essay in time. Try to apply these comments as much as possible. Your exam is coming up. The task two is really what I want you to work on. Remember everything I've been telling you about making sure your position is clear in the introduction and make sure that you're actually answering what they've asked you and not something peripheral. Okay? Good luck, and I'll be looking forward to more essays.